Welcome to the Working Man Committee Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon T. And welcome. Well, we talk about everything important to the working man and some stuff that, you know what I'm saying, happens ancillary over here. And we got to talk about it. So, working man, I want to take you back. Let's go back. 2020. Remember that? And so forth. And, election. We've been talking about election and so forth that the top say that, hey, things happen, election shouldn't happen and so forth. And they were like, yeah, there's never an election fraud. We got the safest election ever in the world. No fraud, none of that ever happens. And so it looks like we might have the first documented time there has been election fraud. Yeah, ever in history of American voting and so forth. Since no voter fraud. That's what it said, right? None at all. AP story. Michigan official gets house arrest for a 2020 ballot sabotage. Yes, Flint, Michigan Township. A local official in Michigan accused of breaking a seal off a ballot box in her own election to ensure. In her own election. They want nobody else on the ballot on that. It was a piece of paper ballot, one person, whole piece of paper, just her name and somebody else's name, and they want nothing else on there. That's what they do in Michigan. One, one, one race, one ballot. Anyway, I digress. And so, let's see. Let's see. Accused of breaking the seal off the ballot box in her own election, ensuring that the votes could not be recounted, was sentenced on Monday to 6 months of house arrest. Kathy, let's call her Kathy for this. Democrat who wore an electronic monitor also wrote a public apology for her actions in 2020 as a Flint town clerk. In January, Funk pleaded no contest to misconduct of office. A no contest plea is not an admit of guilt, admission of guilt, but you take all the stuff that happens with it. So I ain't do it, but give me the charges like I did do it. Okay, she won Democrat nominated by 79 votes out of the 5,300 that was cast. A recount was not conducted because she subsequently won the general election in the fall. Investigators say that the sabotage of the ballot after the primary election and acts that would make the ballots ineligible to be recounted. So because she did that, there was no recount. And so, question. So in this scenario, are we doing one ballot, one race, or were there other races on there? And then all the races on that particular box cannot be recounted. And this could be any races, right? Yes, no, maybe so. Huh? Can you notice that they said if you looked at all the media reports, something like this can never happen. Yeah. The initial, like I said, this lady's 59. Funk is 59. Initially told state police she thought someone had broke into the township halls and damaged the seals on the ballot containers. Somebody else did it. Let's see. Oh man, so like I said, she got house arrest. She swayed the course of election, disenfranchised all the voters, and that's house arrest. That's it. House arrest. Let her plead no contest, so she doesn't admit to guilty or anything. Really? Okay. Whatever. All right. And our next story. Working man, that's funny, right? She, all the people's, so they couldn't really recount, and so that's disenfranchisement of all the ballots and voters, and she gets house arrest. Stay at the house. Don't go nowhere. Put this monitor on. Just walk around your house. Be free. Whatever. Next story. Going around the world. The Sudan. Now, my thing is, I want to know how, why, and so forth. Here it is. Huge risk of Sudan fighters occupying a lab holding deadly disease samples. Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of fighting happening in Sudan, and pretty much backstory is they're looking for control. There's a general over there that was friends with another general, and the one general was like, "Oh, I'm gonna rule everything," but the somehow that the second general realized that, you know what I'm saying, I want to be in power too. Now the two generals are fighting it out for the control of the Sudan, and one side has went to the labs. Yep, the National Public Labs in Sudan is holding samples of diseases including polio. Well, I'll tell you, boy, they keep that polio alive forever. Maybe they use polio to make some other stuff, but yeah, that polio, man, everybody got a shot of polio somewhere. But anyway, uh, so the WHO says, hey, man, they got to get a hold of this and so forth. And so they also trying to get citizens out, U.S. citizens, other country citizens out of the country. And so what's happening is the U.S. brokered a deal for 72 hours of ceasefire, but that ceasefire is very loose. And so forth. U.S. said they're not sending any peacekeepers, a.k.a. troops, in to help with evacuation and so forth. They want the American citizens, hey, figure out land routes to get out because we ain't coming in and so forth, and we'll pick you up outside. And so hopefully that, you know what I'm saying, that there's what, 20,000 refugees that have arrived outside the country. 20,000 people got out of the country so far, but you know what I'm saying, there is expected to be 100,000 later. And yeah, so I don't know why there's deadly diseases in places that shouldn't be. I mean, I would think that the WHO, World Health Organization, would have said, oh, after COVID and however that started or didn't start, that we would determine that this will never happen again. But hey, yeah. It's like, yeah, we're going to repeat the cycle. All right, next story, final story. We're going to talk about Trump. Yeah. Matter of fact, not even Trump exactly. We're going to talk about this story here. The judge in the E. Jean Carell trial warns Trump about his social media posts about posting about her and so forth. And he said stuff like, "Oh, she's who's paying for her legal bills and certain donors and so forth." And her lawyer is like, "How dare you say who's paying us? Judge, make him stop telling who's paying us." And so forth. And so, like I said, she is suing Trump for battery and defamation, alleging that he raped her uh, back in '96 and and defaming her years later, saying that she's crazy for and that he don't know her. Yep. So she testifies today in a defamation case. Let's see. So former Elle columnist testified in her defamation and battery case against former President Donald Trump, describing him being almost too frightened to think. During what she alleges was an attack by Trump in a dressing room in Manhattan department store in the 90s. She, who brought the lawsuit in November, alleged that Trump defamed her in 2020 on his Truth Social by calling her alleged thing a hoax and a lie. So, working man, let me understand this right. So she accuses him of raping her back in the 90s, 30 some years ago. And so he says that this is a hoax and a lie, and said that this woman is not my type. When I denied her claims that Trump raped her, she in the dressing room, she decided to sue him for defamation of saying that how dare you say that you did not do something to me. Yes, that's part of the suit. How dare you say you didn't do nothing to me? Is what she's showing. She added in charge of battery under a recent adopted New York law allowing adult survivors of sexual abuse to sue their alleged attacker regardless of the statute of limitation. So first it was, how dare you say you didn't do something to me? This is an election, and in this election, I want to let everybody know that you did something to me, and you calling me a liar, and this is a hoax. How dare you? I'm suing you. New York makes a law like, oh, okay, you can sue people. Oh, snap! Put that in there too. I want to sue him too for that. No. Let's see. Let's see. How I it's like I don't understand, right? I understand why she didn't say something before. 30 years later, why she wait till he's running for president to say something? And dude's like been a figure in New York forever. Oh, I get it. Sorry, y'all. I'm back. You cannot tell a woman when she can come up and report something to somewhere. It doesn't matter what the time it looks like when it's happening. You cannot tell a woman when she feel comfortable enough to report something to somebody. You can't. But at the same time, you cannot tell dudes who want to be girls they cannot play women's sports. Cause that into we care about women's stories, and they can tell their story about some man did something to them whenever they want to, if it's 100 years later. But we cannot protect a woman if she wants to do athletics. So then, hey, it's free game. Then we do whatever you want to. But in this point, you know what I'm saying? She's coming out 30 years later and saying that, you know what I'm saying, what happened in the room. He denies what happened in the room. And so and she testified. Here's some poor quotes from her testimony today. I said, I was almost too frightened to think if I was afraid or not. My whole reason for being alive at that moment was to get out of the room, answered Corral, who said Trump then raped her. That's what she said. And she also said here that, I'm here because Trump raped me, Corral said. At this start of the testimony, and when I wrote about it, he said it didn't happen. He lied and shattered my reputation. And I'm here to try to get my life back. 30 some years later. Carell told the jury she had no romantic relationship since she was allegedly assaulted back in. I like that's an interesting one there. That's like is that one of those situations where you soon get hurt and be like, I can't have sex anymore, or something traumatic where I can't do something, so you add an extra part in there, so you get an extra $2. But I mean, I don't know what the case is. I'm gonna say this allegedly, all that might have happened or not. But like I said, if it was true, then you know what I'm saying, she should get something out of it. If it's not true, and if it's just like a ploy, then hey man, justice need to be swerved the other way on her too. So we'll see, you know what I'm saying, what comes out of this, and so forth. And what else she said here? Crowd told the jury that she had. Okay, we are talking about. Let's see. I tried to engage him. I laughed at his jokes. I found him charming. And what happened to me when I was flirting? I got into serious trouble. She testified on the trial of the second day. And she also says I'm a happy person. I'm aware of I'm aware of lost my hold on. I'm a happy person, but I'm aware I've lost out on one of my glorious experiences of humanity being, she testified, saying she flirted with Trump, ended up in the worst decision of her life. Is this one of the situations where I will let's put this aside, y'all. Put this aside. Let's think about this. Do you think eh, rejection, rejection hits people a hard way? Also, do you think it does? Working man, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? You get rejected and so forth. Is this going down that path where she tried, he zigged, and she was trying to zag and so forth? But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I want to see whatever comes out of this. I mean, wait for the verdict on this. If the jury believes her statements, or does the jury doesn't find it credible? Because like I said, it says right here, Carell also testified that her second husband, John Johnson, strangled her on 3 occasions. She said that the violence was not sexual and that she did not call the police and did not sue him. Crow also told the jury first met Trump in '87, but she struggled to pinpoint the year that he allegedly raped her in a dressing room in Manhattan store. She know it happened, but don't know when it happened. But anyway, I mean, this is one of the stories, like I said, one of the pylons with Trump, you know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to sue the man. His lawyers is working overtime, his bank account working overtime, and so forth. But anyway, this has been a Working Man Committee podcast. I've been your host, Brandon T. And like I said, we will follow these stories, and then when there's a verdict, we will put it on the show. And with that being said, like and subscribe. Put down below in the comments how you feel about any of this stuff, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.